Welcome back to Welsh Miniature Board Gamer, and this is my monthly review of what I've got done, painted or made during this month. So our first miniature that I'm going to start off with is this Mantic Troll. I did one last month, I believe, and I finished off the last one in the box set. And they're quite nice little miniatures, you know, he's a decent size, he's going to look like a troll compared to normal size miniatures. I'm not keen on the bases that they come with. I could pop them off and put them on different ones, but, you know, it's on it, so I'm going to keep it for now. But yeah, I'm quite impressed with these miniatures, and they're nice to paint. So the next bunch are going to be from Firefly, Browncoats and Brigands. Now this is our captain, Malcolm Reynolds, being a browncoat. I love this miniature. They're a bit soft, you know, the details aren't great, but I think you can actually tell that it is meant to be Malcolm Reynolds from Firefly. So I had a great lot of fun painting this miniature up and looking at stills and all and getting the feel for the character in order to paint him. So yeah, I'm quite happy with him. So these are some of the enemies that you're going to face in Firefly, Browncoats and Brigands. Painted up, you know, okay. They're not brilliant, but they're not bad at all. I think they're going to fit in with a variety of different games, including This Is Not a Test, which is a game that I'm playing quite a bit of at the moment. I seem to be gravitating towards it. So everything I'm looking at, can it be used in This Is Not a Test? And these guys definitely can. So, two more of the baddies from Browncoats and Brigands, the Firefly game, which I must say looks like a really interesting game. I haven't played it yet because of the because I haven't finished painting them, but I'm finally very close to finishing. So I'm going to be, I think next month I'll be able to actually play it with painted miniatures, and I'll be happy to, you know, maybe even share it online if you guys wish to see it. So this is the last of the baddies that I've painted up this month for the Firefly game, and you know, they're basic. The miniatures aren't bad, there's some detail in them, but they're kind of soft, you know. I can see why they're more of like a board game quality, if there's such a thing. They're not quite as sharp and as detailed as you'd expect from a miniatures company, you know, a Games Workshop or you know, a Corvus Belli or whatever. So this was from Battle Systems Core Space, the starter box. These are some of the crew from it, and I really like these. You know, you can paint them bright colours and what have you, which I like because they're future sort of cyberspace, futuristic, you know, sort of characters, and they're really fun. And there's a fair amount of detail on them actually. I would say these are a step up from Firefly miniatures. You know, they're quite crisp and you can see what you're painting, and I really liked painting them actually. So this guy is from the Fallout Wastelands game. These are the plastic ones, and the detail is not great on this guy anyway. You know, I tried the best I could. You know, I've painted the muscles, and you know, I've aged up his weapon by putting rust and all on it to make it a Fallout miniature. But yeah, nah, he'll do. I'm not impressed with this miniature, for example, so hopefully the rest in the box are better. So this is from some other Simon game which I've bought, but I can't remember what it's called at the moment. But yeah, I like the miniatures. There's actually quite a bit of detail. Simon miniatures are really good actually. I like them, you know, the single pose and what have you. But yeah, I really like them, and they fit into that sort of cyberspace, sort of futuristic feel that I'm into at the moment for painting. So the next few things are a bit different. I've actually decided to build a bit more terrain, and I noticed when I was playing This Is Not a Test, I didn't have any terrain really for a Fallout Apocalypse type style. So I knocked a few of these things up, and I think they turned out pretty okay considering, you know, it's just foam board and a few pieces of corrugated card stuck to them, and then like I've got a few pieces of 3D printed like greebles which I just sort of stuck to them to make it look like a shanty town. You know, that they're not meant to look perfect. It's a shanty town. It's after, for you know, a nuclear war or whatever it is that caused the end of times. In This Is Not a Test, mainly I'm doing it for, but it'll work for the Fallout universe too. So if I wanted to use them for that, that'd be fine as well. But I can't say enough about 3D printed Greebles. When you're like rushing to print out miniatures and what have you, take a few minutes and print out some, greebly bits, doors, vents, what have you, because these buildings are rubbish. But when you put the 3D printed pieces on them, all of a sudden, yeah, they're good. They'll do. They'll sit on your board, and you won't really criticize them too badly, because of these little bits of detail that you've glued onto them. So, don't overlook printing out Greebles when you're rushing to print out some miniatures. So while making these things, of course I made the stairs so that the miniatures can actually stand on them, because going life-size, the trouble is sometimes the miniatures can't actually stand on the stairs, and that really bugs me. So I've got a bit oversized with the steps here, but it does mean that I can actually put the miniatures standing on the stairs, showing where they are. Because there's nothing more frustrating than putting a dice next to it and saying, alright, there's 6 inches up the stairs or whatever. I find that quite annoying, so I don't do that. So this one I quite like. This again made from the foam core. There's a mantic lamppost in it. There's corrugated card. There's a couple of like pieces of wood from like the laser cut terrain that you can get from like TT Combat, etc. So these are like the offcuts. So keep those, because that cross and that funny red symbol on the side, they're both offcuts from one of those kits. There you go, like that. And it works. This is like a ramshackle shantytown medical post, so there's a couple of 3D printed, like the door, that medipacks, but the other red things are just pieces of wood from the TT Combat sprues, if you like, for holding their buildings together. And I think it really works. The shapes that I couldn't cut out, but they look like they mean something in this world, so brilliant. Here's a little shelter going down into a bunker or something. The doors might be a little bit big, possibly, but I don't think that really matters. Scale, I think people get hung up on a bit too much when you're playing, as long as it's not like, as long as it's not like Andre the Giant standing next to the Hobbit hole door. I don't think you're going to worry too much. Don't worry. Just make it. They're fun to do. So the next few things are Pringle Towers. So I really had fun making these. I'm actually going to be making a video on how to make them. But then basically, I'll give you a quick rundown. Pringles tin. Everybody likes Pringles, then cardboard, a few 3D printed pieces, cloves peg, which I have to thank a Ruffian, something like that, a YouTuber, and he's really good. I saw him use them, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna steal that from you. So if you ever see this, hi, your inspiration. So for paint wise, I just sprayed it grey and then weathered everything up with rust, because everything in This Is Not a Test is rusty and falling apart and generally not very good. I thought I could use these in Stargrave if I ever get around to playing it. They could just as easily just be sci-fi weird, whatevers. So I'm going to make a bunch more of these towers, and I will record the process so that if anybody's interested in making any Pringle Towers, they can make some Pringle Towers. These are the small little Pringle tins next to the larger ones, and I'm trying to make sure that they're all sort of the same sort of height so they can walk from one to the other, even though they probably have walkways. So yeah, this month I did manage to paint my full 14 miniatures, which is what I want to do per month, and build some terrain. So I'm really quite happy with what I got done. It means I can actually play some games because I have the terrain to play on and some miniatures moving forward. So I'm getting closer to actually finishing off a few boxes that I wanted to finish off before I played the game, and I can do a review of what you get in the box and what they look like once they're painted. So those will be coming up as I finish the projects, etc. So for now, I'm going to say goodbye from me, Welsh Miniature Board Gamer, and get out there and do some crafting and painting. It's so much fun. Goodbye.